What is good, y'all? It's Ronald, also known as Youcapper from sportsmemo.com. I got my guy SoCal DJing with me. Just posted that I met him for the first time personally, in person, in Vegas this past week. But we've been working together for like 4 or 5 years now. Prior to me working with Sports Memo and all that stuff, we were working with another company. Shoot, right? Is that right? Is that right, SoCal? Can you help me
Yep.
remind myself? What was that name again? It was like
Break It Down.
breakdown sports or something like that. And
Yeah, it was
we
Break It
were
Down Sports, and we were both brought on as like contributing writers, and
yep.
we did that for a little bit, and yeah.
Yeah, I remember that's when I started betting WNBA, CFL,
Hmm.
had those breakdowns, and then we were trying to do some MLB together as well during that time frame. And then I think that one kind of shut down, and then obviously we stopped working together in that sense, but we always maintain contact through Discord. He is the master behind the swag Discord as well. Real quick before we get into the breakdown, SoCal, can you talk about the Discord and what we got going on in there?
Yeah, so we've had the Discord running for about 4 or 5 years now. Um, it it kind of started as a idea on bringing the SDQL community together. Um, the prior version of SDQL uh, did have a Google community board form, but it wasn't monitored and people weren't getting their questions answered or their concerns addressed. So I had the idea of, hey, why don't I create a server where I can bring the community together and we can actually answer each other's questions and help each other out, and at the same time also discuss games and what kind of angles we're looking at and so on and so on. So it started off as a SDQL server. It kind of grew from there. We started using bet labs as well, so
Mhm.
people who use bet labs can ask questions about building systems, what the parameters are like, and what's available. And then from there, we started including other non SDQL sports like tennis to allow people who have an interest in betting those other sports venues where they can talk and share ideas and share angles and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I think this morning when I looked, our Discord is almost at 200 members now.
Mhm.
Um, so we've been growing recently.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interest now with SDQL. There's a lot more people than just the few people who are the original kind of group that went into that Discord. Like we talked about previously, is there's been a change in how the Discord has been used, but we want to go back to being able to share as a community and win together as a community as well. So that hopefully, with the new members coming in, all the questions being asked about SDQL, things are just gonna get better with the Discord again. And with that said, man, like I think we want to get into the games now. First game we're gonna go into is the Orioles and the Blue Jays here, and then I tweeted out earlier I wanted to bring some people on to talk about the game, kind of showcase other people's ability to cap games, and we got our guy Caesar here. He's gonna pop in here. What's up, Caesar? Thanks for
Hey, what's
dropping
up,
in.
guys?
Yeah, thanks for dropping in. I asked him, what is your breakdown on this game? I wanted to make sure that he was ready and prepared to be able to do that, and I thought it was a really great breakdown myself. So I was like, yo, definitely would like to have you on here. So go ahead. While you break down this Toronto Blue Jays and Baltimore Orioles game, I'm gonna bring up the our screen share here, and then we'll get into the SEQL. But yeah, go ahead and talk about your look on this one.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for having me on. Love the show. Really appreciate the opportunity to be on with you guys. It's an honor. Um, so whenever Kikuchi's on the road, you gotta look at an opportunity to fade him, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's 0-9 this year on the run line, on the road. And if you look further into it, you gotta look into how the Orioles have performed versus lefties, and they performed really well. They're 12-5 straight up. at home versus lefties. You look into their total, you see that if the total is 9, the Orioles are 21-3 on the run line when the total is 9. And then you back that up even further with Kikuchi versus the division on the road. Lifetime is 20 has lost or not covered the run line in 20 of his 22 starts. So you have the Orioles on a 21-3 trend, and you have Kikuchi on a 20-22 fade. I think that's a pretty good play to where you're cashing at over 90% clip, at around 90% clip on the +1.5 run line for the Orioles. I tweeted this out yesterday. The line was at opened at -125, and it's been steamed up. So there's a lot of support. I think a lot of people are seeing it the same way.
Yeah, I mean, is that, I don't know how long you've been doing SDQL, but is that sort of your way to use SDQL, kind of finding the opposite angles, right? Like one side is fading versus one side supporting. Is that typically how you bet? And then also like, do you take into account like foundational pieces, like, just normal stats, like the batting averages and run support and things like that? Or are you primarily just a trend better?
No, I try to look at it all the way around. I definitely want to have a fade, and I want to have support on the other side. Where if they're strong on that angle. That's my primary first look, and then I'll dig in a little deeper on how they're performing recently and how they perform against this team in this situation.
Yeah, I like that. So your play would be on the Orioles on the run line, right?
Yes.
Okay. And SoCal, I think you were talking about this game as well. What were you seeing on this one?
So I had a just a one trend that has been hitting a lot. Whenever Kikuchi starts against a team that has a win rate of less than 53% and are coming off a loss, they are they're on a 0-10 losing streak. So
0-10?
Yeah, Kikuchi's team is 0-10 in this spot in their last 10, and the last 7 of those spots were with the Toronto Blue Jays.
Nice. That's a nice trend. Yeah, well, I think all of us are seeing trends fading Kikuchi. Kikuchi here. I think that's one thing that a lot of people on Twitter has seen a lot is fade Kikuchi day. So just going into Spodevs here, we're looking at Kikuchi and Lyles. The splits here, the starter splits, you can see Kikuchi on the road is where it's at, right? 5.74 ERA, 1-8. The Blue Jays are in those spots. 5-4 for Lyles, 2.68. He's pretty much like pitching well, but the record, the 5-4, is basically because he's not getting run support in some of those situations. But overall, he's just been pitching really well. Last 3 games as well, you can see the 5.56 here on Kikuchi, and then 2.12 ERA here for Lyles, and the 3-0 on the record, straight up record. If we go to the home away splits, this is where it gets kind of funky for me. Is just because of how the Blue Jays hit against righties on the road. But you do see that the Orioles do hit lefties at home a little bit better as well. So hopefully things balance out there from that perspective. And then the bullpen here, you can see that we can trust the Orioles here in the spot a little bit better, but the Blue Jays aren't doing too bad. Going to the chat here, what's F5 Orioles money line? Are you talking about the odds, Mitch? I don't know. Sorry. I could check what that is. The Orioles first 5 money line. So we're seeing plus money on that. And I wouldn't talk anyone off that. No, you're good, Mitch. You're good. I can't talk anyone off of that. I think Baltimore can probably win this one. The first 5 and the money line, the full game money line, to be honest. But what I wanted to go into was some of the SDQL both SoCal and Caesar brought up. So Caesar, first, let's go with one of your trends that you brought up. Can you let me know which one you want to share here as far as SDQL goes?
Yeah, if you can go on the Keller Sports
Yeah, we can do Keller
database.
Sports. Yeah.
So if you look at the Orioles this season, and the total equals 9.
That's the run line you're talking about right there, 21-3.
The run line is 21-3.
All right, so then we have that +1,885. I got you, SoCal. You good?
Yeah, I'm good now.
Okay. So you see that ROI positive, strong positive ROI there on the run line. Even on the money line, you could get some. The record obviously isn't strong as far as win percentage, but at plus money, you're profiting, and that's what matters, right? At the end of the day. So that's that here. I think. I mean, the total here at 9 is not showing up as a possibility. Maybe
it opened at 9, and it's been steamed up since.
It's steamed up. Okay. Yeah. Let's look at what about if we say like 9 and greater than or equal to 9. 30 and 9. So it's still really great as far as that trend goes for taking the Orioles on the run line. Just for me, Caesar, like I don't like to kind of, especially with like totals and lines, I don't like to stick to like a specific number. Like in like spreads and stuff like that. It's different with MLB because it's money line. So you can't stay into like in this like specific range. With totals as well, like you don't want to stick with a single number. I like to do like ranges, but not cut it off on both ends. It'll be like 9 or greater, right? Or 9 or less or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to get a larger sample size, and also because some of these databases have like different lines that they input, sometimes that also messes with things too. So just like now, right? It opened up at 9, is probably 9.5 or whatever it is right now.
Right.
We didn't see it as a possible play, but then that would have taken us off of the play if that was a specific trend that we were going off of. So that's kind of
I generally don't like using totals as support either, but I just happened to kind of come across this one and
for sure.
couldn't ignore it.
Yeah, as long as it like makes sense. That's what matters the most with these queries is you want it to, if you can write the query out and you can say it properly in plain English, I think you're good to go. It can't be like 10 sentences long. You know what I mean? Right. So yeah, something like this is pretty simple, right? Like when there's a game that you feel like there's going to be a lot of runs happening, the Orioles cover the run line. I mean, it's simple as that. SoCal, what was one of the SDQLs that you were bringing up?
So you know what? So go ahead to starter Kikuchi.
Give me the dog or anyone.
Say again.
On give me the dog, or which site you want to use?
So my signals actually came from Bet Labs, but let me go ahead and type it into give me the dog right now.
Is on you say?
Yeah, you say Kikuchi.
Yeah. That's what it is, Mitch. That's if you can say it and understand it, the query is good.
And Ronald, if you get a chance, if you could look at Kikuchi.
Yeah.
On the road versus division.
Yeah, I got you. On the road versus division, is this right?
Yep.
0-4 straight up. A little lean towards the under this season. Overall, this is since he was a Mariner too, huh? Yeah, there you go.
Yep, lifetime.
Yeah, lifetime.
And if you look at his wins, he's not covering the run line in all but 2 starts. out of
I got
22.
you. Yeah, 6 and 5. That one's covered. This one didn't. This one didn't. This one covered. Yeah, you right. You right.
He only
Orioles.
covered 2 starts.
So either they win by 1 or they don't win at all. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So this one too, though it does include when he's a dog. That's another piece to it though. So it's like yeah, I know what you're saying though. Either they win by 1 or they don't cover the run line as a favorite. I got you.
Right. So with these kind of queries where he's a favorite today, but you're looking at this kind of query where the majority, pretty much all but one game, he was a dog.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest danger in this kind of trend is that you really have to look at the scenario, right? Because the Mariners back then, last 2 years before this year, they were just a really bad team.
They were bad, yeah. Mm-hmm.
They were like bad. So that would explain why most of the games in that situation, on the road against a divisional opponent, why they're dogs. But now, the Mariners are decent. They're actually are they in the wild card chase, or
they're in the wild card right now specifically. Like they're
Right.
in the top 3 for the wild card, yeah.
right? So I'm seeing that the only other time he was a favorite was back on August 3rd, with the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
So you do have the recency of that one start from this year, but other than that, I just wouldn't be like a trend where I would go, oh yeah, in this spot, Kikuchi's team has lost 8 of the last 9, because
Yeah.
the majority of those games, 8 of the last 9 were also in spots where he was the dog.
Yeah. I got you.
So this is kind of like one of the things where like Ronald and several of us preach, don't follow trends blindly. You got to like really look into it, see
Yeah.
the reason behind the trend, why like why it is the way it is it relevant to the current situation? It's like what people say, just trends for every side. You can find a perfect trend on for the home team. You can find a perfect trend for the away team. You got to really include the analysis and just not follow trends blindly.
Yeah, exactly. That differentiates like someone who's just regurgitating data versus someone who's actually analyzing the data and interpreting it in a way that's actually helpful, if that makes sense. So that's that. I think we're pretty solid on this one. I think a lot of us are looking towards the Orioles run line. I wouldn't talk anyone off of the Orioles money line, to be honest. That would probably be the way that I go for the plus money. And with that said, I think we've been on this one pretty long, but I like the fact that we were able to kind of talk about the queries, showcase some of the queries here. Caesar, a good job on the breakdown there. You as well, SoCal Degen. And the fact that we just talk about how queries just need to make sense. That's the biggest thing here. The biggest takeaway is just don't get too caught up in trying to make a 20-0 query using 5, 6, 7 parameters that really just is kind of just cleaning up the data basically. So that's that. Yeah, and then with that said, let's move on to another game here. I think we were talking about the Mariners and the Yankees. I think that's the last game of the day. And that's here. And we'll live breakdown on this one. I didn't take a look at this one too much. I don't know if you guys did either. So we'll just start kind of like how I usually do with Chris, kind of start with SPODEVs and then we'll move on to the SDQL portion of it. So we got Talon and Logan Gilbert here. We see their whips here, pretty similar. They go deep into these games, past 5 innings. 3.96 ERA for Talon, and then 3.16 for Gilbert. Records pretty similar for the win-loss record here. And the Yankees are coming off of a sweep, something that we don't see often with them. But they're 10-6 off a loss in Game 1, and then 11-8 for the Mariners after a win in Game 1 of a series. Starter analysis breakdown. Away 7-2, 4.47 ERA though, so he's getting a lot of run support here. That's what's happening there. Gilbert 5-4 at home, 3.35 ERA. He's the opposite, right? He's just not getting the support that the Yankees are giving Talon. Last 3 games, 1-2, 5.19. So he's struggling a little bit. Maybe we see a little bit of positive regression here. Last 3, 2.2-1, 4.73. If we look at totals, kind of the opposite here, right? We're looking at overs for Talon and the Yankees, unders for Gilbert and the Mariners here. And the Mariners are in the pitching park, so we'll see how that goes. And good point by said here. Yankees on travel, but Mariners has been inconsistent. Definitely solid points there. If we look at the batting splits, Yankees on the road versus right-handed pitchers, 5.56 run support, 2.57. So they do a little bit better here on the road against righties than they do against lefties. Yeah, I could do that for you, Cam. I'll bring that up in SDQL. On the opposite side, we got the Mariners, 3.97, 2.26. So from the batting perspective, definitely the Yankees side is where it's at. And then on the pitching side, I feel like the Mariners have sort of the edge there. So we're looking at 2 opposite directions for both of these teams. If we look at bullpen, pretty similar as far as the ERA goes. And then last 5, a little uptick on the Mariners side, 4.2 run support, but they're still struggling as far as batting average, and pretty consistent as far as the Yankees here against righties on the road last 5. So let's bring up SDQL. I do like to go to Give Me the Dog, guys. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but I like Give Me the Dog because it gives the first 5 stuff information that the other sites don't. But feel free to chime in on that sort of angle. What do you guys normally go straight into? What site do you guys use?
I use the big 3.
Say that one more time. Sorry. Go ahead, SoCal. You go first.
Oh, for SDQL, my go-to has been Give Me the Dog for pretty much the same reason. For this season breakdown and the first 5, and I also like that it's like a refresh, cleaner look than what the old SDQL format was like. Quite like, in my opinion, the old SDQL webpage looked like something we used to have back in the 80s when the internet was first out, and it just never got refaced. And that's what Give Me the Dog did. They refaced the whole thing, added some new features, and I just like it.
Yeah. What about you, Caesar?
Yeah, I like to use all 3 of them: Spode Devs, Give Me the Dog, Killer Sports.
Yeah.
Sometimes data could be off on one of them, so it's good to just double check, make sure you're getting accurate numbers. But yeah, I use all 3.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. I agree with both of you guys there. Positives and negatives for both. Huh?
Yep. Hey,
Sorry,
Caesar, when you say data is off, are you talking about the game data, or are you talking about the gambling lines?
So gambling lines could be different too, on Killer Sports and Give Me the Dog. But I've noticed that Give Me the Dog will sometimes have an over when it's under, if you look at the actual total and the number that they provided. So I'm not sure how they correlate that, but then on Killer Sports, it'll reflect differently. So I just think it's best to just double check.
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, and in SoCal, you could correct me on this, but Give Me the Dog uses a different database than Killer Sports.
Okay.
So there will be times when lines and totals are a little bit different, and I would also double check things as well. That's how I go about it.
Yeah, so I do know that Give Me the Dog Killer Sports, and Spo Devs all use different numbers, or not use different numbers, but they rather they source from different sites. I was told by someone that Killer Sports sources from ESPN, so wherever ESPN gets their lines. I know that Give Me the Dog. We were told that he actually inputs lines from several sources and kind of gets the consensus average of those lines, and that's what's being used. And then Spo Devs, if it's anything like the old SDQL, before all the different sites split off, they would probably be the least accurate lines, in my opinion.
Yeah, I got you. Just going into the chat real quick. Cameron, can you let me know if you're talking about if they scored 4 runs in the previous game? And then Mitch, closing lines and opening lines. Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, some page, one of the pages, I gotta figure this out, but one of the pages kind of uses what line has been available for the longest period of time or something like that. Then another one has the ability to pull opening or closing lines, and then I think that one is Give Me the Dog, the one that could pull opening and closing lines. And then the old Killer Sports, I remember the old Killer Sports prior to the ownership change was which line was available for the longest period. And if I'm not mistaken, the old owner of Killer Sports is now the owner of Spo Devs. So there's a lot to break down there. But yeah, that's sort of my understanding of all these lines. Current game. Oh, so you're thinking that the Mariners score 4 or more today, and you want to see how they do when they do that. I got you. Okay. All right. So Logan Gilbert, when he's able to get some run support 4 or more, it's 14-2 straight up, and has not been able to do. Oh, he did. All right. So he did it against the Yankees. Oh, against Talon too. And they won that one as dogs. It's strong. Yeah, I got you. Okay. Yeah, so that's how that. I mean, pretty good if he gets some run support there. So what I like to look at dog. Is that right? Or are they favorite? What are dogs today, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that popping up then? Oh, they're favorites. Favored by a little bit. Man, what the fuck? Let's just say home. There you go. Okay, so minus 110 is neither a favorite or a dog, so that's probably why it's not popping up. So Logan Gilbert at home, 5-and-4 straight up. Towards the under full game, but the over first 5. So this is interesting because I briefly looked at this one. The 3-6 here, full game under, 5-2-1 to the over. That's interesting to me because I think we all think that Gilbert's pretty strong pitcher, but they're going over in the first 5. And then after that, sort of the bullpens come into play and do their job and limit the opponent, right? And then also the opponent's bullpen is limiting the Mariners as well. They only get 1 run after that first 5, compared to 1.34 here on the opposite side. But what's interesting is just crazy because there's only that little gap, right? If you go, this is telling me that they're probably going over that first 5 total by either a run or maybe a run or 2, but nothing more. And if you look on the Yankee side, you can see that big first 5 over here for Talon, and then the same thing here. It kind of goes the opposite way. I mean, it's not fully towards the under, but at the same time, a lot of these overs come back down to earth to the opposite way, right? If that makes sense. So first five initially when I first looked at it, I was focusing on that first five under, but it's just hard to see that. First five over. It's hard to see when the bullpens limit. It's hard to go on the full game if you see one side go over and then the full game go under. What are your guys' thoughts on this game? Did you guys cap it, or is there an angle that you guys want to look at?
So I'm staying off this game. I initially wanted to take the Yankees, but if you look at their last 10 night starts or night games away, they're 1-9 in their last 10.
Is there a way to
In their
do night
last-
games on Give Me the Dog, or is that a Killer Sports thing?
I think, I believe you could do it night on Killer Sports. I mean, I Give Me the Dog.
Just night?
On Give Me the Dog, you can use start time.
Oh, okay. Greater than or equal
Start
to?
time.
What would we say,
Start time
1600?
greater than. Yeah, we can start at 1600 and see where that goes.
Yeah, on the road, Yankees on the road.
Yep, Yankees on the road. Games after 4 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
They're 1-9, last 10. Yep.
9. Yep. That's a good look right there. You got Cardinals, Mets, Orioles, Astros, Red Sox. That's a good look there. And let's see what it looks like during this run, July 9. Okay. I wanted to see how the first fives were in this one. Okay. Did you have any? What about you, SoCal DJ? Anything?
I'm just looking at it right now, and some of the trends I had in regards to a same season revenge matchup, they were all good up until this year. Something like 27-14 prior to this year, and then now it's 0-3. So a lot of dead trends. This isn't the same Yankees team. They're pitching. If any, I would say the biggest issue with Yankees right now is their pitching. It's just inconsistent. Outside of maybe one or two guys.
Yeah.
And they have so many power hitters that you got 6 out of the 9 guys on any given night. All they do is swing for the fences. There's no fundamental baseball, base running or anything with this team. So they either score a lot of runs or they don't score any runs, which just contributes to the inconsistency of how they play.
Yeah, good job, Caesar, pointing that out on that. Getting some respect from the chat here. Yankees. I'm just looking at the Yankees versus Mariners here. The matchup here, 1 and 2 on the season. Second time for this matchup specifically. So that goes there. So there's that first 5 over again on this matchup. That's the only way that I could look, guys. Is the first 5 over. From a trend perspective, that's what it looks like. I think Taylor himself gives up a good amount of runs early, and you can't just, the Yankees and their bats are something that you can't just like avoid, right? Like that's the way that I would look at it. I don't know if I'm gonna get to the window with it though. What other angles can we look at here? Go Mariners. Did you say something about no, I think that was starter.
So Gilbert and Dallin have faced each other recently. I wonder what Gilbert's record is when he when he's won a previous match because he won that game.
Yeah, when you say recently, that was just last week.
It was last week, yeah.
Yeah, just last week, and it's exact same head-to-head pitching matchup.
So 6-4 straight up, 6-3 in the first 5. So that was that one.
6-3 first 5.
This one's just interesting. That's an interesting look as well. So this one is what I brought up here. I wonder if that's just and that's just a all right. So with Logan Gilbert, he's coming off of a previous matchup win, and then the opponent opponent starting, right? Is this right, guys? You guys can double check me here. But the opponent starting previous game matchup is a loss. So saying that Talon lost his last matchup against the Mariners, Gilbert won his last matchup against the Yankees. Does that make sense?
Yep.
4-1 straight up, 4-0-1 on the first 5 money line there.
All right, this is actually a very good example to use. So you have Gilbert in a 4-1 spot here, right? So
go ahead. Yeah.
If Jameson Talon, when he lost against the same team this season, he's 5-0. So if you do season equals 2022 and starter equals Jameson Talion and the capital S:L.
Oh, so he gets his revenge.
Yep, he gets his revenge, 5-0. So this is a good. I'm actually glad we came across this. This is a good example to kind of go back to the previous thing we were saying, where you can find trends to support either side all the time. So the prior trend, you had Gilbert with a 4-1 spot, and here you have a Jameson in a 5-0 spot. So, this is like a good example to really show that you can't just go based off trends. You need to really dig in and see if the same variables from the last game are still in play, if anything's changed since last week, since their last start.
Yeah. Okay. That talked me off of everything. I mean, there's like...
Yeah, I'm staying away.
I'm probably with Caesar here and just staying away from the game completely. But this is pretty strong here, being able to limit all these teams. Well, I mean, not Angels, but to 1 run, except for the Astros here. It would probably be a look towards maybe a team total under on the Mariners side. That could be a good way to do it. Shit. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm good with this one. I'm pass with this one. But yeah, I do have to get going though, guys, because I have to host Sports Memo's baseball show. But I think official, I would say mine's gonna be the Orioles money line. I'm gonna go with the plus money there. Caesar, you want to drop what you're on today? It could be more than just the game that we talked about.
Yeah, the only game I liked was the Orioles on the run line. I thought that was real strong. You're more bold than I am. I believe that they'll cash. I believe they'll cash straight up, but I'll take the money at the plus 1.5. I'd say. Yeah.
Yep. What about you, SoCal?
Aside from the Orioles, I was considering taking a flyer on the Oakland A's at home to fade the Angels. They have Jose Suarez on the mound today. He hasn't been pitching all that great. And if you actually look at how the A's have been doing after the All-Star break, they're actually going on a nice little run here. So I don't really have any trends or anything to support this. This would be more of a gut play for me. Cole Irving.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, Cole Irving has a 1.73 ERA at home, as opposed to 4.58 on the road. So he's definitely a much better pitcher in Oakland than he is anywhere else.
Yeah, I did find some trends earlier today. I'm gonna bring them up right now. 1 second. On fading Oakland, but it's not like you can find that much support on the A side either, just because their offense is struggling. But let's look at Oakland. So this is just a simple one that I looked up. So the A's as home favorites against starting left-handed pitchers, 1-6 straight up. Here's the run line here that I was looking at. First 5 run line, 0-7 on that spot, and then also I look towards the under here against these spots because they struggle. Look at the run support here against starting left-handed pitchers in this spot specifically. Less than a run in the first 5, and then 1.71 full game. But I see, Cole Urban is one of their top pitchers here, so it's a little bit different than what we're seeing as far as some of these other guys. And then on the other side, someone just mentioned Suarez as a beast first 5 under. So let's look at that real quick before we hop off. First 5 under.
While you're typing that in, the Athletics have played 10 home games since the All-Star break, and this is actually pretty interesting that I'm looking at Gimme the Dog right now.
Yeah.
In the 10 home games, they are 7-3 to the over. However, the NERF fee, no first inning runs, is 3-7. So, or the NERF fee is 7-3. So meaning they don't score in the first inning, but they'll get a lot of runs later on in the game.
Yeah.
So if anybody does live bet, that might be a good opportunity. Like if the NERF fee hits in the first inning, the current total is 7.5. You might be able to get a 7 or a 6.5 later in the game and hit the over instead of hitting the 7.5 over pregame.
Yeah, I feel it. I think the under might be because of the run support. It seems like. But
so I got a couple Angel fade trends.
Yeah, go ahead.
In the situation. So if you look at the Angels versus the Athletics, I think they're like something like 1-7. Series game 1. Pretty exactly the career on that.
And series game 1?
Yeah.
So, a lot of L's there recently.
So Athletics at home versus the Angels in the first game of the series.
Angels at home?
Angels are away.
Angels are away. So the Athletics at home versus the Angels, first game of series. Athletics are 8-1 in the last 9 in this spot.
Yeah.
Oh, all these L's right here. Boom, 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 boom. Okay.
And then if you look at how the Angels perform playing away after an away game, series game 1, they're 1-7 straight up.
Say that one more time, sorry.
So after an away game and away game 1, the Angels are 1-7 this season.
Previous game is away. Oh, sorry. Let me put the.
Yep. So Angels first game of series. Yep.
All right. So that talks me off of that game as well. Both of these teams just don't get no run support. It's like ridiculous. I don't see why.
They don't.
I mean, you got Irvin on the mound, right? So he's trends toward the under. Suarez, though, that's another problem. Why is this AA?
Yeah, I mean the Athletics are 6-4 at home since the All-Star break. So, at -130, -125, I'm probably gonna take a stab at them, to fade the Angels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fuck it. I'm not gonna play this game. Today's slate sucks. The only thing I can really put my money on right now is that Orioles game. So we'll see how that goes. But all right, well, I gotta get going here and get ready for this Sports Memo show. But appreciate you guys both. Caesar, man, awesome job today. We'll chop it up in the DMs. SoCal DJ, always a pleasure to be working with you. Hopefully we can do this a lot more again in the future. To everyone in the chat, shout out to you guys for keeping it popping in there, sharing your plays and all that stuff. I really appreciate you guys showing that support. And hopefully we just keep cashing, man. Hopefully we keep cashing together as a community. With that said, this is the end of the show. For those of you on Twitter, shout out to you guys on YouTube. Hit the like and subscribe button. And always, man, I always got to end with this, guys. Made me cough. Always got to end with this. Please remember, whether you fade us or follow us, and it's on you to make that call. Good luck on all your action. Until next time. Peace.